So, let's move from the NBA to the NFL. Today we're fortunate to be joined by 5-time NFL MVP and 2-time Super Bowl champion Peyton Manning. Interviewing him is Colin Resch, an Emmy Award-winning sports reporter who covered Super Bowl 50, won by Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Peyton Manning and Colin Resch.
In my very first NFL game, I completed my first pass to Hall of Fame running back Marshall Faulk. Later, I completed the pass to tight end Marcus Pollard down the middle. And somebody hit me really hard. And after I got up, I told myself, I know I can play in this league. When I look back on my NFL career, I'll know without a doubt that I gave everything I had to help my teams walk away with a win.
Does this win make you think about all the seasons you've had?
Sure, you certainly do. You know, on the bus rides, and if you reflect about on all the coaches and family members and friends that have helped you get to a Super Bowl, get to this point.
Peyton, who's your favorite football player there?
My dad.
Spike it, Peyton.
I got a big jump ahead of me. Obviously going from 2A Newman High School to Tennessee is going to be a big jump.
He holds every Tennessee single-game season and career passing mark.
With the first pick in the draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Peyton Manning.
The Colts of Indianapolis win Super Bowl 41.
And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50. A final star turn for Peyton.
Peyton Manning serves as a member of the American Red Cross National Celebrity Cabinet and the Pat Summitt Foundation Advisory Board. He and his wife Ashley established the Payback Foundation in 1999 to promote the future success of disadvantaged youth by assisting programs that provide leadership and growth opportunities for children at risk. Manning continues to maintain a strong relationship with St. Vincent's Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, which in 2007 was renamed the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital at St. Vincent.
Fans, you are at the core of what makes this game remarkable. Football has taught me not to be led by obstructions and setbacks, but instead to be led by dreams. I'm totally convinced that the end of my football career is just the beginning of something I haven't even discovered yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Peyton Manning and Colin Resch.
Peyton, thanks, man. Great to see you. Thank you, you too. So, thank you.
Everybody, Peyton Manning.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Obvious first question. You're a year into retirement now. What do you miss? What do you not miss?
I don't miss getting hit. I do not miss that. People say, well, you got to miss those blindside hits where, where the guy comes and hits you in the back. And the truth of the matter is, I was able to avoid those blindside hits a lot. I'd be in the pocket getting ready to throw, and I could hear the crowd kind of go, oh, I just kind of scoot up. I could kind of avoid those guys hitting me in the back. The hits that hurt the most is when you're getting ready to throw, Colin, and you see somebody coming out of your front side, some 300-pound monster, and you're like, wow, this is going to hurt. And it did hurt. So I do not miss that. What I do miss probably is the camaraderie of my teammates. Football is the ultimate team game. And on an NFL team, you have 53 players, and you do everything together. You practice together, you lift weights together, you eat together, you sit in these team meetings together, you travel together, and it's the ultimate form of camaraderie and fellowship. And I really miss that. And I miss the plane rides after a win, right? There's nothing like a plane ride after a win in the NFL. I was always encouraged to enjoy a victory on Sunday night because Monday, you got to start all over again and kind of put it behind you. So when you play on the road, it kind of starts on the airplane, and the emotion and the adrenaline. And all I can tell you is the next time you're on a commercial flight and the flight attendant says this plane can't take off until everyone is seated and your cell phones are turned off, that's just not true. Because NFL game, we win a game, everybody's standing up, high-fiving on their phones, and that plane takes off just fine. So I miss the plane rides.
The plane rides are fun after a win. We
That's
won't
right.
talk about the loss.
That's right.
We won't get into it. So we just saw the video behind us, and the day you retired, you said, "I'm totally convinced the end of my football career is the beginning of something I haven't even discovered yet." Do you still feel that way now a year in?
Well, I do. I'm kind of excited about this next chapter. I'm not 100% sure of what it's going to be, but I certainly enjoyed playing football. Did it for a long time, 25 years if you go back to my years in high school, 4 years at Tennessee, then 18 years in the NFL. The relationships that I formed during my football years are my greatest takeaway with my teammates, my coaches, the behind-the-scenes staff, your equipment staff, your video staff. And those relationships never go away, fortunately. But I'm kind of looking forward to this next chapter. We have young kids. I drive my kids to school every day. They're in kindergarten. I had a big September, a big monumental month. I dropped my kids off at school for the first time. I moved into an office, and I joined a health club, right? I mean, this is the real world I have entered into, right? Member of the month in October, perfect attendance, by the way. So,
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so these are the new achievements I'm looking for. So, but I really enjoyed this past fall, Colin. I got a chance to do some things I never had to do in 25 years.
Yeah.
And shockingly, sports was a part of it. But went to some University of Tennessee, my alma mater, some college games, watched the New York Giants, a couple games. I'm kind of interested in how their quarterback plays. Certainly keep up with the Broncos and the Colts. I really enjoy being a football fan, but my wife and I went to China. Just did some different things I haven't had a chance to do. So I kind of have a bucket list, and I still want to kind of check some of those off, and I enjoy kind of having a little more freedom, especially in the fall.
And I see a lot of people think part of that bucket list is going to be 2020 Senate in Tennessee. We were talking about this backstage. What's going on?
I have no idea where that comes from. Like I said, a few weeks ago I was going to go run a team. Last week I was going to be in the Senate. Next week I'll probably be an astronaut. Who knows? So be careful what you believe. I've always wanted to meet they and sources, right? They and sources sure seem to know a lot. They haven't really asked me before. So I have no interest in getting into the political world. I'm certainly interested in being a servant, serving communities, giving back to the communities, and I'm pretty comfortable in that role.
There you go, everyone. Now you know.
There you go.
No Senate. Hey, you mentioned taking hits. Thousands upon thousands over your career. Hardest hit you ever took. There's got to be one that stands out, right?
Thanks for bringing that up, Colin. Yeah, nice memories. The guy that hit me the hardest, and unfortunately the most often, was a great linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens named Ray Lewis. And he retired 2 years before I did. It was like the greatest day of my life. Like sent flowers to his press conference. Stay retired, don't come back. And he hit me, and he was so explosive and fast and such an instinctive player. But every time he'd hit me, it's always like he was kind of driving me into the ground and kind of like he was using me to help him get up and whispering in my ear, "I'll be back here in a couple minutes, punk."
Yeah.
Very, very, very friendly player. And so I don't miss that at all. I do not miss that.
You kind of reinvented the game with your line of scrimmage lingo. So I'm going to bring up a couple that maybe people here haven't heard. Ice cream alert 654 Jose. And I'm not saying this the way he would say it, right? Short ox, Richmond, Florida, Buffalo. My personal favorite, Louisville Soul Train. Buddha Raiders, 19 Sally, and then the most famous one, Omaha. Can you set the record straight on Omaha? What does it mean?
Well, first off, the reason that you can hear what's being said out there by the players is about 5 years ago, the NFL and the TVs, they turned up these sideline microphones to bring television viewers at home closer to the game. And it's great because you can hear the action, you can hear the hits, and you can hear what's being said. It's a little bit of an irritant to the quarterbacks because who else gets to hear that? The defense that you're playing the next week. So we were getting up there playing games against a team we hadn't played in a couple years, calling an audible out, and the linebacker is calling out the play because he heard it on the TV copy the previous week. And so I'd go into these television production meetings with Jim Nance and Al Michaels, good friends of mine, great broadcasters. I go, "Guys, you can hear everything I'm saying out there." They're like, "Oh, isn't it great?" I go, "No, it's not great. It's not great." I go, "I need you guys to talk while I'm calling audibles." They go, "No, we want to hear the action." I go, "No, you're paid to talk. I want you to talk." while I'm calling the action. And you were asking me backstage if I had any regrets. My only real regret in my time playing ball, instead of saying Omaha, one time I should have gotten under center and gone, blue 20, Jim Nance is a no good you know what, son of a mother. I think they would have turned those microphones down.
Yeah.
There's going to be a big fine coming with that.
Opportunity missed.
Yeah,
right
I should have let Eli or Brady or Rogers do it. They would have paid the fine. So that's why you can hear what's being said. Omaha was just an indicator word. It was a trigger word that meant we had changed the play. There was low time on the clock, and that ball needed to be snapped right now to kind of let my offensive lineman know, hey, we've gone to plan B. There's low time on the clock. It was a rhythmic 3-syllable word. Okay. Omaha, said hut. Maybe, you know, I can't tell you how many solicitations I used to get for alternate words. You know, people would write me letters, Peyton, if you could just launch my website instead of saying Omaha. I'm like, sure, I'll launch your website. And probably should have used Adobe. That would have been good, right? That would have been good.
Yeah.
Catchy.
Yeah.
So, but I got to tell you, I'm a big deal in Omaha, Nebraska now. I mean, I went there a couple years ago. I got the key to the city.
Yeah,
got a big
I believe that.
Charity donation. So I always got Omaha if I need a place to live.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Adobe, this is an analytical audience, as we know. You were an analytical quarterback, and we were talking about this when we were backstage, and the risks involved with just playing the position, knowing when is the right time to throw into double coverage and take that risk? When do I check it down? When do I call an audible? How did you assess those risks throughout your playing career? Because you were the best at it.
Well, certainly calling an audible, making a change. There's certainly instincts involved. There's a lot of courage involved. But I think it has to start with preparation. I was never out there just winging it and just saying, okay, I'm going to try this play and see if it works. Every audible I called, I spent a lot of time preparing and watching film and sort of making my notes saying, hey, if the defense does this, this is what I'm going to audible to. And I would share that with my teammates and my coaches. And my coaches were very supportive. They say, Peyton, if you see it and you like it, you go with it and we'll have your back. And that's how it has to be. When you're making a change, everybody has to be on board, and they have to be prepared for it not to work, and they still have to be on board. So that preparation, the time that we put in communicating, I always believed in sharing direct two-way communication with key people, not going through a middle person, not telling him, hey, you go tell him I may call this play. I was going to tell my coach, I was going to tell my wide receivers, this is what I'm going to. So there were no surprises when we got up there. And certainly did I feel responsible when they didn't work? Absolutely, I did. But at the time I felt it was the right call. I went with it. I believed in it. They don't always work out, but the majority of times they did work out because everybody was on board, everybody had bought in, and everybody was executing the play with a lot of passion. So there's no doubt there's instincts, there's no doubt there's guts and courage, but I think the more preparation you can put into sort of surveying what the possible scenarios that might be coming up and what changes we have to make to adjust to those scenarios, the better off you're going to be.
Well, and you had to be more prepared than ever when you had to sit out the season and you had to have that neck fusion surgery, and then you signed with the Broncos, right? You're going to a new franchise. You're basically starting from scratch and restarting your career. A lot of people didn't think you would come back. Talk about just the ups and downs that you had at that time and then doing what you did in Denver.
Certainly in 2011, I had a neck injury that caused nerve damage of all things in my right arm. And I had a high school coach who used to always tell me, Peyton, when you're sprinting left, it'd be a heck of a lot easier if you could throw the ball left-handed if you were amphibious.
Amphibious.
I'm pretty sure he meant ambidextrous. I never asked him. But if only I would have listened to my coach, I could throw left-handed. So I was in a real tough situation. I had to miss the entire season. I felt it was a real test for me. It was really the first health adversity I'd faced. And I think when you face adversity, you find out a lot about yourself. You find out a lot about the team that you're on as well. And I really took it as a test. I tried to have a good attitude about it. It was certainly disappointing not being able to play. Our team didn't have a good season. I felt that that was kind of my fault. If I was out there, we could have played better. But I had a good attitude about it, and I wasn't afraid to ask for help. I had great support from my family, my coaches, from doctors, and I slowly began to make a little progress later in that year. Like you said, I had to change teams. But I had to learn to adjust. I had to learn to adjust to kind of playing in a new physical state. I couldn't throw the ball 60 yards down the field anymore, but I could still kind of move the chains down the field, right? To use a baseball analogy, couldn't throw the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but I could still work the outside edges of the plate, could still strike a guy out. Right. So I wanted to try. I wasn't stubborn. I was flexible to adjust, and I was able to play for 4 more years, and I was very grateful for that.
Well, and those are a phenomenal 4 years.
So thanks.
Breaking records, most touchdown passes in a season, go on to win a Super Bowl. But in 2012, your comeback player of the year you're a 2-time MVP. What are you more proud of looking back, that you were comeback player of the year or that you were multiple MVP winners?
Well, I never wanted to be eligible for the comeback player of the year award, right? But I was certainly, individual honors are not what you play for. I always believed in the team awards, and every individual honor that I received, I kind of accepted on behalf of the team, because football is the ultimate team game. Everybody has to do their part. So I really accepted both on behalf of a lot of great teammates and people that helped me.
Well, that leads me into coaches, mentors you've had over the years. People look at a great athlete and they just see how great he is, and they don't really understand what was behind the scenes and the daily rigors and what coaches and mentors do to make you the person and the player that you became.
Well, coaches have had a big impact on me. Those have been my mentors. And I think the first thing I'd tell you, don't ever stop being coached. Don't ever stop going back to that mentor. I certainly believe in paying it forward and mentoring others, but don't ever believe that you have it all figured out and you don't need to stop going back to that old boss, that old mentor, maybe an old coach as a young person that had a big impact on you. I used to go back to my offensive coordinator in college. His name is David Cutcliffe. He's now the head coach at Duke University. I go back to him every offseason, and he would coach me like an 18-year-old freshman. He would yell at me. We do the most basic fundamentals that a junior high quarterback might do, and you might say, why would a 14-year NFL veteran need to be working on how to take a snap or how to call a play in the huddle? Because the little things matter. If you ever brush off the little things and just go on to the big things, that's when your game's going to begin to slide. So staying on the little details and fundamentals, especially as you get older in your profession, I think it's important. I played for a guy in Indianapolis named Tony Dungy, who's every bit as good a human being as he was a coach. He was a very effective style of leader. He never raised his voice. He never used any type of language, but he treated you like such a professional that you just didn't want to let him down. You didn't want to disappoint him, so you played hard for him. You wanted to make that great throw or catch for him. I played for a guy in college at Tennessee named Philip Fulmer, who was as loyal a coach as you could have. He always had your back, even when the times got tough. It's nice to work for people that are going to have your back, especially when it gets tough. And then I mentioned my high school coach. He was a real character. He was famous for all these malaprops, right? He used to tell us for the team picture to line up alphabetically by height. It's kind of hard to do if you think about it. We had some smart kids at our school that were trying to figure it out, and I mentioned amphibious. And then when you get recruited by these colleges, they send you these questionnaires. They ask you all sorts of questions, right? You remember those. About you, your family, and your high school. So I was sitting in my high school coach's office one day filling out a questionnaire. I said, Coach, it's asking some questions about you. He said, what's it say? It's asking for the name of my high school coach, name of my high school, and name of my high school coach's alma mater. I said, Coach, I don't even know. What is your alma mater? He said, always do your best.
Did you put that down?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's funny. You brought up leadership. This guy, as everyone here knows, one of the greatest leaders in all of professional sports. Your leadership style, was that evolved from the people like Tony Dungy and these coaches and mentors that you had? And how did you create your own style?
Well, to me, in my opinion, leadership really boiled down to its true essentials is the ability to influence others. And if you can't influence a team, you really can't lead that team. And in order to influence that team, they have to trust you. They have to know that you've done everything possible to put yourself into that leadership role by putting in the sweat, putting in the work. All the teams that I got to, I didn't go in barking a lot of orders. I wanted to earn their respect first by being there early, being the last one to leave, taking responsibility for my play in my interviews, being accountable. And then you slowly earn that respect to have more of a platform, to be more of a vocal leader. So, the very first time I ran into the huddle when I was a freshman at Tennessee, I had this great rah-rah speech, and hey, I'm a freshman, I can take us down the field right now, we can score a touchdown. My left tackle, about 330 pounds, grabs me by the shoulder and says, hey, freshman, shut the blank up and call the blank and play. And I said, yes, sir. And that was good advice. People don't want to hear what you have to say right away when you're in a new leadership role. They want to see some action first. And I applied that when I got to Indianapolis, when I got to Denver, and it gave me more of a platform to be more of a vocal leader. So, and then it goes back to that communication as well. Yeah. We always like to meet together, talk about things, get all on the same page, but there's no doubt that leading by example is a big tool as a leader.
When Steve Young was on the stage with me 2 years ago, he talked about you and how you were the best when it came to accountability, both team and teammates, communicating with teammates. How are you able, because you get so many different guys in that locker room, and get them all on the same page?
I think it's important to get to know the people that you're leading. I'm not sure you can talk to everybody the same way. The more you know about where they came from, what makes them tick, what drives them, what motivates them, the more effective you can be in communicating with them. I had wide receivers that liked to be verbally challenged in front of the whole team. They responded to that. I had others that you had to get off to the side and go, hey, I'm counting on you. Right. I need you to be 18 yards deep, 2 yards right inside those hash marks. That's where the ball is going to be. I know you can be there. And so that was a better way to get him to respond. Ultimately, being a leader is getting those people to play hard for you and respond for you. So the more you know about them, I think the better communicator you can be.
What separates, people would wonder, in all facets of life, what makes someone good, what makes them great? What separates?
Well, certainly there's so many talented people in so many fields, and so it's not just your talent and ability. I certainly believe having a strong work ethic is very important. I think you got to have a passion for it. You got to love what you're doing. I believe that you either get better or you get worse every day. You don't stay the same. So I also believe it's important to work on your weaknesses. I think the great ones aren't afraid to work on their weaknesses, right? Mm-hmm. It's embarrassing to work on something that you're not good at, right? People see you, oh, wow, what's he doing? I'd make a throw that I wasn't very good at. Coach would see me, wow, maybe he's losing his edge, but I was working on something that I wanted to improve at. I knew that was going to make me a better player. Learning from the previous year, using experience as your best teacher, all those things combined, I think can help you, succeed. And I think certainly, at least in football, have an appreciation for all sides of it, the physical part as well as the cerebral part. Those are the ones that last for a long time, I think, in some of the better players.
Well, you were so focused in your playing career on, as you said, improving this, improving that from year to year. Well, now what do you work on a daily basis? What's going on with you from day to day?
Sleep in every morning, put my robe on,
okay.
Lionel Richie comes over.
Yeah.
Kind of start my day, right? And go over there and see Eli on Tuesdays and make nachos. So I'm like I said, I'm staying busy. I'm kind of taking my time, and I'm doing a lot of different things, but the best advice I got was not to sign up for something maybe full-time right away that you just couldn't commit to. So I'm just a year out, just retired, just about last week. So I'm staying busy, but kind of taking my time and seeing kind of what my options may be.
So Kate McKinnon is here, right, from Saturday Night Live.
That's right.
It's been a little over 10 years since you hosted SNL. I think it was right around your 30th birthday. Any visions of hosting again post-playing career?
No, I don't know.
She's here. You can go through some skits while you're here.
She's great. She's a star. That was a unique experience for me. I got to host Saturday Night Live, and the one that people asked me about the most was this. It was a skit for the United Way where I was throwing these footballs at these kids.
Yep.
And doesn't sound very good if you hadn't seen it. People don't believe me. This football was a Nerf football. The Nerf was cut out. I'm telling you, it was as light as a feather. But they put those sound effects, but it looks like you're just knocking these kids out. And
no children hurt in the filming of this.
And the director is like, hey, Peyton, you're a charitable guy. This is a spoof for the United Way. That's why this is going to be funny. But you got to be all in. You got to whack these kids right in the head. And I remember just saying, I can't do it. It's too much. My mother's going to be so disappointed when she sees this. And so I said, I'm out. I'm not afraid to go up to the line. This is kind of over the line. I'm out. And these kids that you mentioned, they were all child actors, and their parents were out there the whole time. And right as I was about to cancel it, one of the mothers of the child actors ran out onto the set and told the director, I want him to hit my kid in the face. And I said, I will do it. I will knock your kid out. I will, that's it. So, yeah.
That's great. Sure. You also had a skit where you did a little dancing.
Yeah,
Dancing day's over.
Yeah. I'll be careful calling that dancing.
Yeah.
So, I have great respect for Kate McKinnon, and the people that are part of that show is a real talent. It's a lot like a game week. They sort of put a game plan in together and kind of execute it on Saturday nights, and I had a lot of fun. It's one of the things that I got to do from playing football. I enjoyed a lot of the different experiences I was able to have.
So a year away from football, life's good. That's what it sounds like to me.
Doing real good.
Yeah.
So
family's good, and you're enjoying things. And what's next?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll just take our time. So I'm enjoying it, and I really appreciate you guys having me, and I've really been honored to be here.
It's been a pleasure. Everybody, Peyton Manning.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Great job. Thanks so much.